We are not lost. We are returning.
This is not fiction. This prophecy happening before your eyes.
The second Exodus has begun.
This is vile affection. Romans 1 verse 26 says our women change the natural use. This is what our people are doing today, and it is wrong in the eyes of God.
Leviticus 20 verse 13 says, if a man lies with man as with woman, it is abomination.
Our brothers do this today, and it keeps us weak as a nation in sin. James 1 verse 8 says, a double-minded man is unstable in all his ways. This is the confusion our people live in today, and it is sin.
Deuteronomy 22 verse 5 says, a man shall not wear what pertains to a woman. This is rebellion and confusion in our nation today.
I am coming out of that life. Romans 1:28 says, God gave them over to a reprobate mind. Come back to the Most High.
Abraham prayed for Sodom. 2 Esdras 7 shows mercy. The Most High calls us back, and we waking up now.
Some of us been in dark places before. 1 Corinthians 6 reminds us to change, to live righteous and keep the commandments.
I shared something with the family at church yesterday, and I feel that the Lord wants me to share it with all of you guys on the internet. So I was speaking about how we are in a time period in a culture that is worse than the culture of Sodom and Gomorrah, worse than the culture of the days of Noah. What do I mean by that? Well, look here. Back then, at least to the best of our knowledge, now obviously you can get into all the conspiracies, but let's just be a little bit practical. They didn't have the internet, cell phones, devices to record all of their wickedness and to be able to broadcast it to every single corner of the earth. With the reach that the internet has provided, our wickedness can be shown to someone in a country we never even heard of before. I think that we underestimate the holy, righteous judgment of God. You see, God judged Sodom and Gomorrah because of their immorality. It says their pride, their fullness of bread, and their idleness of time, which is essentially like a first world country environment. God judged them for that, rained down fire and brimstone on them. Guys, we have that not only just in one city, but in multiple continents and nations, multiple nations. We have pride, fullness of bread, idleness of time. We are in such a comfortable time period, and we're able to broadcast such filth across the whole earth, like with things like OF, with things like, you know what the hub, with things like the movies, the music, and everyone's seeing it. Kids are seeing this stuff. This stuff is propagated, it's perpetuated. And so with that in mind, God is not slack concerning his promise. He's exceedingly merciful, because the judgment that he carried out on Noah, on the days of Noah, and the judgment that he carried out on Sodom and Gomorrah in the days of Lot, the Bible says that's nothing compared to what he's going to be doing in the end time. So that's why he's being exceedingly patient. You have people who say, oh, you guys have been saying this for thousands of years. Buddy, mark my words, all of you who say that, you're going to miss the times when you would be able to comment that, because God is being long-suffering, because he knows the judgment he will pour out on this wicked and adulterous generation is going to be beyond anything that we could ever perceive or begin to conjure up in our mind or imagine. The Bible said that there was not a time like it, and there will not be a time to come after that will be as bad as what he's going to do in this era. So we have to be ready. That's why he gave us Jesus Christ, so that we can have an ark to protect ourselves. It's just up to us if we're going to use him. I pray that you be ready, and I pray that you take this message seriously.
I preached to them for 120 years. They refused to listen. Now, we must flee this place.
And I recognize that he said, as in the days of Noah. And what happened on the days of Noah? In the days of Noah, the wicked were taken, and the righteous inherited the earth. YAHUAH, he said the last days would be like this. And I realized...
I heard about Lot wife?
Yeah, I heard.
Why the hell she look back? Now how God tell you not to look back and you still do it? And you still do it? My eyes would have been glued to the floor. Shoot, I would have been scared to open them. Beautiful lady, too. Table salt.
All praises, brother. Where did you get all of this brother, where did you get all this
I almost turned around too, until...
Do it if you want to, stupid! Man, I heard him holler that, and I snapped forward so fast my neck popped. Brother was leaping over rocks like a...
Matthew chapter 24 and verse 37 teaches us, But as the days of Noah were, so shall also the coming of the Son of Man be. This is also restated in Luke chapter 17, verse 26 through 27. Verse 27 says, "They did eat, they drank, they married wives, they were given in marriage, until the day that Noah entered into the ark, and the flood came and destroyed them all." It appears that people thought they were living normal lives during the time of Noah, just before the flood. They were oblivious to the impending doom. So now we need to ask ourselves, if that happened in the days of Noah, what was the Hamashiach telling us in Matthew 24 and Luke 17? Today we're going to be taking a look into the book of Jasher, in which expounds on Matthew chapter 24 and Luke 17. We're going to be reading Jasher chapter 6. We need to find out the correlation between the days of Noah and the time period we're living in today. Verse 1 reads, "At the time after the death of Methuselah, YAHUAH said to Noah, Go thou with thy household into the ark. Behold, I will gather to thee all the animals of the earth, the beasts of the field, and the fowls of the air, and they shall all come and surround the ark." Pay close attention and make note that the Most High said the animals would surround the ark. This is not to be confused with go into the ark yet. Verse 2, "And thou shalt go seat thyself by the doors of the ark, and all the beasts, the animals, and the fowls shall assemble and place themselves before thee, and such of them as shall come and crouch before thee shalt thou take and deliver into the hands of thy sons, who shall bring them to the ark, and all that will stand before thee thou shalt leave." So these animals are to be left surrounding the ark, while other animals will be boarding the ark. Verse 3, "And YAHUAH brought this about on the next day, and the animals, beasts, and fowls came in multitudes and surrounded the ark. And Noah went and seated himself by the door of the ark, and of all flesh that crouched before him he brought into the ark, and all that stood before him he left upon the earth. And a lioness came with her 2 whelps, male and female, and the 3 crouched before Noah. And the 2 whelps rose up against the lioness and smote her, and made her flee from her place. And she went away, and they returned to their places and crouched upon the earth before Noah. And the lioness ran away and stood in the place of the lions. And Noah saw this and wondered greatly, and he rose and took the 2 whelps and brought them into the ark. And Noah brought into the ark from all living creatures that were upon the earth, so that there were none left but which Noah brought into the ark. 2 and 2 came to Noah into the ark, but from the clean animals and clean fowls he brought 7 couples, as Elohim had commanded him. And all the animals and the beasts and the fowls were still there, and they surrounded the ark at every place, and the rain had not descended till 7 days after. So we read that the animals that crouched before Noah, he brought them into the ark. And the ones that didn't, they're the ones who surrounded the ark. Remember, the Most High said that of every clean beast to take them by 7s, the male and his female, and of the beasts that are not clean by 2, male and female. So when the 3 lions came and crouched down before Noah, he could only take 2. As we heard in the story, the cubs or the whelps attacked the lioness and she ran away in her place, in which means she was one of the animals surrounding the ark. And the 2 lion whelps, they entered both into the ark, male and female. Let's take a look at verse 11. This is a warning and an event that happened prior to the flood. It says, "And on that day, Yahuwah caused the whole earth to shake, and the sun darkened, and the foundations of the world raged, and the whole earth was moved violently, and the lightning flashed, and the thunder roared, and all the fountains in the earth were broken up, such as was not known to the inhabitants before. And Elohim did this mighty act in order to terrify the sons of men, that there might be no more evil upon the earth. And still the sons of men would not return from their evil ways, and they increased the anger of Yahuwah at that time, and did not even direct their hearts to all this. And at the end of 7 days, in the 600th year of the life of Noah, the waters of the flood were upon the earth, and all the fountains of the deep were broken up, and the windows of the heaven were opened, and the rain was upon the earth 40 days and 40 nights. And Noah and his household and all the living creatures that were with him came into the ark on account of the waters of the flood, and Yahuwah shut him in. It's now time for us to start making these connections. What does the days of Noah have to do with this present time? So that we can connect the dots accurately, let's go back to Matthew chapter 24, verses 37 through 39. And it reads, "But as the days of Noah were, so shall also the coming of the Son of Man be. For as in those days that were before the flood, they were eating and drinking, marrying and giving in marriage, until the day that Noah entered into the ark." So verse 37 and 38 sounds like the time period that we're in now, and it's the same time period that Noah was living in right before the flood came and took them all away. So they were eating and drinking and partying and just living life like the world would never end. When you get a chance, read chapter 5, because Noah warned the people 120 years about the flood coming. They had ample amount of time to get their houses in order. So they just continued to live life as if they were never warned. In fact, 39 says, "And knew not until the flood came and took them all away, so shall also the coming of the Son of Man be." This is not a warm, cuddly bedtime story to tell your children before they go to sleep at night. The heathens tell this story like it's a fairy tale, like something magical, imaginary made-up beings in a far-off land. But the way they tell it is truly fabricated and intended to deceive the masses into thinking that this was a warm, cuddly story, when in fact it was a mass killing that took place, and every living thing upon the face of this earth drowned. So tell me how you heathens get a warm, cuddly feeling when you tell this story. Allow me to answer that. You lied about the story of Noah, just like you lie about everything else. It would behoove everyone who's listening to this message today to take heed to what I'm saying. Because if you understand these scriptures, then you know that this is no nursery rhyme, and that just as in the days of Noah, there's going to be another mass destruction. In fact, in Revelations chapter 19 and verse 13, it appears that the Hamashiach's garments are going to be dipped in blood. You heathens should be thinking right now, shame on my forefathers for telling us all these lies. You were taught that your pale Jesus was coming back to rapture you during tribulation times. But you know, it really doesn't matter whether you accept this or not. The only Savior who's going to return look exactly like the people that you hate and have oppressed. Okay, so let's continue at verse 16. It says, "And all the sons of men that were left upon the earth became exhausted through evil on account of the rain. For the waters were coming more violently upon the earth, and the animals and the beasts were still surrounding the ark. The Most High knew that as the waters continued to become more and more violent upon the face of the earth, that the people would try to break into the ark. So he commanded the animals who weren't taken into the ark to surround it and guard it. And 17 says, "And the sons of men assembled together, about 700,000 men and women, and they came unto Noah to the ark. And they called to Noah, saying, Open for us, that we may come to thee in the ark. And wherefore shall we die?" Verse 19, "And Noah with a loud voice answered them from the ark, saying, Have you not all rebelled against Yahuwah, and said that he does not exist? And therefore Yahuwah brought upon you this evil, to destroy and cut you off from the face of the earth." This is the same thing that's going to happen when the Hamashiach returns. At the last minute, there's going to be those people who want to try to enter into the ark, but it's going to be too late. In fact, I believe we're in the time where the doors are beginning to close. The grace period is almost over. The gospel of the truth is being taught all over the world, and then the end is going to come. All of you who want to continue to call him Lord or God and not acknowledge his Hebrew name. All of you who don't want to believe who his children really are. The so-called Negroes who are in fact the Hebrew Israelites of the Bible. All of you who want to deny the holy days and partake in the holidays. Those of you who do not want to keep the seventh day of rest, the Holy Shabbat. And all of you who continue to abound in wickedness. When the Messiah returns, he has a lot of destroying to do. In verse 20, Noah said, "Is not this the thing that I spoke to you of 120 years back, and you would not listen to the voice of Yahuwah, and now do you desire to live upon the earth?" Noah is saying, I tried to warn you for 120 years, and now that the flood has come upon the earth, you want to save yourself? This is exactly what's going to come to pass in this present time. We've been trying to warn people about the truth of the gospel. We've been trying to tell them who the real Israelites of the Bible are. We've tried to warn them of Yahuwah's real name. We've tried to warn them not to keep holidays, but to keep holy days. We're trying to warn everyone to keep the seventh-day Sabbath holy, etc., etc., etc. And the warnings seem to continue to fall on deaf ears. Now that these people are in trouble, listen to what they said in verse 21. "And they said to Noah, We are ready to return to Yahuwah. Only open for us that we may live and not die." And Noah answered them, saying, "Behold, now that you see the trouble of your souls, you wish to return to Yahuwah. Why did you not return during these 120 years, which Yahuwah granted you as the determined period?" 23. "But now you come and tell me this on account of the troubles of your souls. Now also Yahuwah will not listen to you, neither will he give ear to you on this day, so that you will not now succeed in your wishes." So just like in the days of Noah, we also have a determined period. Do you really believe that this grace period will never end? Listen to these wicked people in verse 24. It says, "And the sons of men approached in order to break into the ark, to come in an account of the rain, for they could not bear the rain upon them. And Yahuwah sent all the beasts and animals that stood around the ark, and the beasts overpowered them and drove them from that place. And every man went his way, and they again scattered themselves upon the face of the earth. Verse 26, and the rain was still descending upon the earth, and it descended 40 days and 40 nights, and the waters prevailed greatly upon the earth, and all flesh that was upon the earth or in the waters died, whether men, animals, beasts, creeping things, or birds of the air. And there only remained Noah and those that were with him in the ark. And the waters prevailed, and they greatly increased upon the earth, and they lifted up the ark, and it was raised from the earth. During the time of Noah, YAHUAH gave humanity 120 years to change their evil ways. Just as in the days of Noah, people today are not responding to the voice of YAHUAH. They didn't care then before the flood came and took them away, and they don't care now before the Messiah returns for judgment. The Bible teaches us that Yeshua is going to return like a thief in the night. No one's going to be expecting him, and no one knows the day nor the hour. And just like the people in Noah's day, people in the end times will be ignoring the warning messages and rejecting Yahuwah's righteousness.
I gave too much of myself to someone I barely knew. Now I'm texting my sister like, why do I keep doing this?
I'm an idolater, and I pray to Mary every night, light candles, hold my rosary, and believe she's watching over me.
This bitch just sent me pictures of y'all. And you said you was at work. You a liar, a cheater, a whoremonger. This is adultery.
I'm effeminate. I like how I dress. I like how I move. I like the attention. And I'm not changing for nobody. An abuser of myself with mankind. I don't care what the Bible says. This is love to me. And I'm not hiding it.
I don't care if it's broad day or if the Fed's watching. If I want it, I'm taking it. This is what stealing look like.
They laughing, eating good, pulling up clean, and I'm out here hungry with nothing but crumbs in my hand. I swear I deserve that life too.
We drunk and don't give a fuck. We getting lit tonight, tomorrow, and every day after that. Turn up.
Yeah, I'm a revealer. I talk reckless, I violate, I tear people down on sight, and I don't give a fuck. Yeah, I'm an extortioner. You owe me now, and if you late again, I promise your whole world gon' pay. Every one of us been one of those sinners, drunk, reckless, violent, lost. But the Most High woke us up. Now we moving different. Now we moving right.
This is fornication.